Hello everyone, I'm Captain Logan and welcome back to Primetime Crisis. We're talking about the third episode of Supergirl for this season today. It's Welcome to Earth, kind of a double entendre title, talking about a couple of different things that are roped together thematically. One of them is welcoming Mon-El to Earth, of course, initially in not too accommodating of a fashion. Mon-El, who is a Daxamite, initially thought to be a Kryptonian because of his power set, and it turns out that he's a member of a race of people from Krypton's sister planet, Daxam, and Supergirl is not happy to find out about that. She is somewhat bigoted toward Daxamites because of the rhetoric on Krypton, the propaganda machine that made all Kryptonians hate Daxamites, and the same thing happened on the other side. There's a plot we've seen in Star Trek a million times, and then on the other side, the other kind of the A story, I'd say, this episode is the Alien Amnesty Act that the president is trying to pass into law. The female president, played by Linda Carter, which got really interesting at the end, and we'll talk about that. I think my favorite thing about this episode is the cliffhanger dealing with her. I thought she might be kind of a one-shot character or pop in once or twice again down the line just for cameos, but it looks like she might end up having quite a bit to do with the main thrust of the story this season. I'm not sure that she's not even potentially involved with Cadmus, so we'll see what's going on with all of that. Linda Carter, kind of a coup, kind of a fun stunt casting bit, and she seemed really presidential to me. I thought she was a really great pick, and again, especially when we get to the end and we find out that there's more to her than meets the eye, so that's really fun. So I'll go ahead and get into both of those things, and before I do, let me just say that I thought this was a bit of a step down storytelling-wise from the first couple of episodes. I've got a lot of problems with this episode. Overall, I enjoyed it. I liked things about it. I like, again, kind of the thrust of the story for this season. I like actually kind of like the political discussion. I think, I don't know how well overall that's going to end up really being handled, but it seems overall a little bit less heavy-handed than last season. It doesn't seem to be as preachy, telling us what we're supposed to think about the, kind of political and social, I want to say allegory. Some of it's allegorical, some of it's just straight up dealing with, current racial and gender issues and immigration and stuff. I guess the immigration side of it is a little bit more allegorical because we don't actually have, aliens on our planet or in our country right now trying to decide what we should do with them and whether or not they should be allowed to be here. But anyway, so we are kind of talking about both sides of those issues and the complexities of trying to keep, allow people their freedoms and not infringe upon people's rights while simultaneously trying to keep people safe when we know that there are, bad guys out there who have come from somewhere else. And that's kind of what this episode is about. So let me go ahead and start with the Mon-El stuff. I like that actor. I think he's pretty good. I think he might end up being a really cool character down the line. It'll be fun to see more kind of superhero team-up stuff with Supergirl. I think we did a decent job of not making this your typical kind of misunderstanding thing of a guy who will eventually become a superhero fighting Supergirl for no good reason. The bigoted thing, I think, works okay. She is really extreme in her racism toward the Daxamite, but I think that's somewhat understandable, again, because of the propaganda machine and the way she was raised, and she snaps out of that pretty quickly when she discovers that he didn't actually try to murder the president and that there might be more to him than meets the eye. Overall, I think Supergirl has been kind of characterized in an oversimplified sort of way. Her character arcs are a little bit too easy so far, where she'll have a really extreme stance on a thing and then go, oh wait, I was wrong, and then kind of flip real quick. And I wish she was a little bit more thoughtful about things. I'll give this one somewhat of a pass, again, because of how blinded you can be by your cultural bias, and she wouldn't have expected to ever see a Daxamite again, so I can sort of see that, but I don't like the extreme before that of all aliens are good, and that this Amnesty Act thing is straight up a good idea. I feel like most of our characters that have dealt with aliens on both sides, good and bad aliens, should see both sides of this issue. And Martian Manhunter seems to be the only character that really totally makes sense. So with Supergirl, at first it's oh yes, of course, this amnesty thing is a great idea. That all aliens are, and honestly, this law is really vague. That's one of my big issues with this episode, is I don't understand the legislation. Maybe we'll do something with that. Maybe we'll do some social commentary about making government legislation really vague, so it sounds really good, but nobody really knows what it does, and then you sign it into law, and then, oh no, nobody realized just what was actually in it. But it's odd that people aren't asking this question, and because it seems like the law seems to basically like just say aliens are okay, and everyone should be okay with the diversity of not just different kinds of human beings, but also people among us that aren't humans. But you can't pass a law that says diversity is good. It seems like, so I don't know what exactly the law does. It says amnesty. The dictionary definition of that is pardoning people of crimes, but that's not exactly what we're talking about. I don't know if it's instant citizenship. We don't say that. There's no discussion of what exactly it is that it's doing, and so you've got people on both sides of this issue being really oversimplified about it, and it makes them seem kind of superficial and sometimes even a little dumb. So Kara being an alien is like, oh yay, this is a good thing, but of course she has a secret identity, and the argument from the bad guy of this episode, this alien who has heat vision but is not Kryptonian, a lot of people with Kryptonian powers in this episode that are not Kryptonian, her argument is a somewhat compelling one, although she's not a real fleshed out character. She's pretty two-dimensional. She's kind of just a plot device to bring us the other side. I'm glad the other side is there, which is, and like I could see a person watching this thinking that this is just played for as like a paranoid kind of position where she's just being all conspiracy theory, but then by the end we find out that there is another side to it, or potentially there's another side to it. And we find out that that Linda Carter's president is not what she seems, that she seems to be alien too, and there's more to what she's doing than just trying to do a good thing and making aliens welcome on Earth. So but her whole argument should be somewhat compelling to Kara if she started thinking about it. The idea that amnesty could just be another word for registration, that the government wants all these aliens to have to come out and tell everybody what their powers are, to out themselves, to be profiled, which is what Lena Luthor wants. Really politically charged episode. Impossible not to talk about politics, at least within the context of the episode, with this one. And so, it seems to me like Supergirl should be a little bit concerned if she doesn't know exactly what the bill does, because she's trying to keep her being an alien a secret also, and she wouldn't want to have to be outed because, first of all, it makes it hard for her to do her job, and second of all, it makes it impossible for her to have a personal life, and so she wouldn't want that. So part of the problem, again, is our protagonist seems to be not thinking about things in a smart way, and also that we're just not told what that legislation is. And again, moving forward, if we do something with the fact that people don't know that, what it is, it might be interesting, it might be okay. But then the problem is, people are kind of dumb for not asking that question. Then you got Alex, who has this weird attitude of all aliens are bad, because she's been going after aliens all this time with the DEO, and she has to be reminded when she's brought by Maggie Sawyer, and I'm glad Maggie Sawyer's brought into this show. I think it's really cool. The action's pretty good. And she goes to this secret bar, kind of like Caritas from Angel, where it's like the safe haven for aliens, and it's the secret place. And she has to be reminded going there that not all aliens are bad. Okay, but you work for an alien at the DEO. The guy, and I've always loved this idea, the guy who runs the DEO is an alien, and the government knows he's an alien, and so it's not just humans being paranoid going after alien bad guys thinking they're all evil. The place, there's kind of a unintentional, inherent check and balance there, where the place is run by an alien going after the bad aliens. I like that a lot. But like, okay, so Alex, you work for an alien, and your sister is Supergirl. I don't really understand this position, and she doesn't talk about that part of it. So anyway, I thought that was kind of strange. And anyway, so that's kind of my big issue with the whole alien, amnesty thing and the way Supergirl is played here. So she at first is all for it, and then has to be reminded that there are bad aliens because of Mon-El. So she's realizing when this is so weird. She basically realizes she's a hypocrite, and then realizes she's a hypocrite again on the other side. At first it's, yay aliens, I'm an alien, this is a law of acceptance, yay, that's good. And then she goes and interviews Lena Luthor, who has this new device that is kind of like the mutant detector in Days of Future Past, where it can tell when there's an alien around, and it's this portable device. And by the way, Lena Luthor has gone from potentially really interesting and like the altruistic Luthor, and I mean, I didn't expect her to not have ulterior motives for things, and for her, big business sensibilities, for her not to put that above doing the right thing and stuff. I figured we would go there, but she's gone from seeming pretty smart and pretty cool to kind of an idiot all at once. I can't believe that your response to an Alien Amnesty Act, which by and large, I mean, we don't hear from all kinds of people, but like, it seems like people are pretty okay with this, and like the president is really popular and nobody has anything bad to say about her, and that's going to come to bite them, it looks like, maybe, unless we're playing the I'm jumping all around, but unless we're playing her being an alien as kind of a red herring, like we did with Martian Manhunter, where his eyes would glow red when we thought he was Hank Henshaw, and we're like, okay, it's Hank Henshaw, we get it, he's evil, he's gonna be Cyborg Superman. Oh wait, he's Martian Manhunter. It just blew me out of the water, and it was a really cool reveal. Maybe we're doing something like that with her. I don't yet have an idea as to what the like red scaly things on her face are and who she might be, if she's a comic book character, and I imagine she probably is. But anyway, so Lena Luthor's response to this is, oh, I have a device that will let you know who the aliens are when the whole act is pro-alien. It seems like a really stupid response, like, and kind of convenient that you just happen to have that and you're ready to roll it out right now. I thought that was really kind of odd. But anyway, so Supergirl writes a kind of smear piece for Snapper Carr at the newspaper, and she's like, she's like, oh, Lena Luthor is this horrible, bigoted person, And then she figures out that Mon-El is a Daxamite and thinks that he tried to murder the president. And then she immediately kind of turns that around and goes back to Lena Luthor and apologizes. And it's like, oh, thank you for reminding me that there are bad aliens out there. Which she fights bad. I mean, aliens are the freak of the week of the show. She fights bad aliens all the time. And by the way, why is no one talking about the Kryptonian army that tried to take over the world last year? It seems like fewer people would be okay with this alien amnesty idea because that happened. It's weird that nobody's talking about that, and that everybody seems to be kind of following the president like lemmings. I don't understand that. It seems like that would come up. Anyway, I keep saying that first season is kind of skippable now, and you could just start here and move on. And I think this episode is a lot better if you don't know last season or you're not thinking about that stuff. So then, at the end, when she discovers that Mon-El is not the culprit in the attempted assassination on the president, she, kind of finds a midpoint and is like, okay, there's good aliens and there's bad aliens, and we have to be, on our guard and kind of, trust but verify. And it's like, yeah, no kidding. So I just thought she was really kind of oversimplified, and that was kind of an easy character arc. I also was weirded out by her lack of understand. She doesn't seem to have critical thinking skills or very good critical thinking skills. Snapper Carr has to explain to her what impartial journalism is. She has no idea. She's like, oh, it's a fact that what Lena Luthor is doing is bad, and so I can put that in my article. No, that's not what reporting is. That's not what hard-hitting journalism is. That's an opinion piece. What are you doing? How do you not know this? How is your cousin Clark Kent of the Daily Planet and you don't know this? And why did Cat Grant think that you would make a good journalist? I don't understand that. I thought that was really weird. Some of the things she has to learn this episode, I think, are things that she should have already kind of known. And the fact that, it just seems like we're sort of fishing for a character arc. And I think all the CW shows kind of have that problem right now, may I say. And this is still better than the other three, and it's still kind of off in its own world, well, literally, because it's not part of that universe, but it's on the CW, and they all kind of have that problem. Anyway, the other thing I wanted to mention about Mon-El is how ridiculous it is that that's his name. In the comics, Mon-El is a name given to this guy, I think by Superman, by Clark Kent, where he's also, the comic book version, and I thought it was cool that they went this way, that he's not actually from Krypton, because it's a sister planet, he has similar powers. He isn't, his name would not be Mon-El, he's not of the House of El, but in the comics he's made kind of an honorary member of the House of El, and he's named Mon-El, and I think that's how it works. I haven't read that stuff. I looked into it a couple weeks ago when I found out that he was going to be in the show. And in the show, that's just his name already. That's bizarre and convenient, even if it's spelled differently, even if the way the names on Daxam are, the way they come up with them is different. It's even if it's not hyphenated thing, if Mon-El, one word, whatever. Boy, that's surprisingly convenient, right? Kara is Kara Zor-El. Clark is Kal-El. He's Mon-El, but from another planet that they hated. Okay, I couldn't even believe that he just comes out and that my name is Mon-El. And how is Kara not immediately like, wait a minute, L? Really? I couldn't even believe that. My favorite line in this episode is Martian Manhunter at the beginning, when he says, when Mon-El has escaped, and they still think he's Kryptonian, and he says, well, I sure picked a bad time to get rid of all my kryptonite. I love that we went there, that we're actually kind of talking about this as maybe Superman made a mistake. I really like that. And I don't think this is Martian Manhunter, and I could be wrong. We'll see how the show plays it. Right now I'm seeing both sides to this, and I like that. I still don't understand Superman's position from the last couple episodes. I thought it was really I talked about this before. I thought it was really strange that he couldn't see the compromise there, that he couldn't see the necessity of, okay, just having kryptonite doesn't mean that it's for you, Superman. Like, he seemed to think it was inherently bad to have something to, a weapon to protect yourself against Kryptonians because it could be used against him, and that, they should be trusting and more idealistic about this. And it's not like nuclear weapons where it's like a deterrent where we keep building up bigger and better weapons until somebody could destroy the world. It's just kryptonite. I mean, it's dangerous, but if it's the only thing that can stop a really scary army of 60 to 100 Kryptonians that want to take over the whole world like we had last year, yeah, maybe we need that. I mean, Superman's not going around trying to take all the guns away from cops. I do not understand that. And so when Martian Manhunter at the beginning of this says, I picked a bad time to get rid of all my kryptonite, yeah, no kidding. But it makes him look a little silly because he kind of just caves, last episode and lets Superman take all of his kryptonite. I don't like that. I mean, I'm glad Superman doesn't do it by force. I wouldn't have thought the show would go there, but it's really strange that he ultimately agreed to that. But I like that we're talking about it like maybe it was a mistake, so that's really good. Like I said, the end, the cliffhanger, really strong. You've got the president turning out to be an alien, and that immediately makes me like this whole episode better. That, you've got somebody that's passing this super vague legislation that a lot of people, nearly everybody that we see, seems really fine with this, and it's potentially scary, and our bad guy this episode is talking about how potentially scary it is. So I really like that, and I'm interested to see where that goes. But the Miss Martian reveal was really super cool also, and I knew she was coming, but I didn't know she was going to come this early. I did think it was a little strange. They play this just for the sake of a reveal, very end of a comic book issue that's in the middle of an arc, right? Where John goes into this bar, the secret alien bar, as Martian Manhunter, because he hasn't had a place where he can just be himself, literally, physically, like show him, show people his true self, and just walk around. And I thought it was a really touching moment when he goes in and does that. He acts earlier like he doesn't really need to do that, and he doesn't think it's a good idea, but deep down, like all of us, he wants to be able to just be himself. And so he goes into this bar, and he is looking like Martian Manhunter. And by the way, the CG looks great. We have, moving over to the CW, this is probably the longest at one time we've gotten to see it, and I think it looks pretty good. And then he meets this girl who seems to recognize him, and is kind of stopped dead in her tracks. And then he leaves the bar, and she walks out, and she turns into Marvel Girl to Martian Girl. But she's in an alien bar where you don't have to hide yourself, so why isn't she also walking around in her Martian guise? I sort of wondered about that. The only other thing I wanted to mention is Jimmy Olsen. I don't know how I feel about his taking over for Cat Grant so far. It doesn't seem like the right fit to me. I don't know. It really feels like we just needed a place to put him, and even though he has a role and he's running this corporate empire, he feels like the character that they don't know what to do with, and they're just trying to find a spot for him, and it's awkward to me. I might be reading this wrong. Maybe on a second viewing I would feel differently about this. I hesitate to say this, but this was my gut reaction. So if folks disagree with this, and with anything that I say, as always, feel free to leave comments and let me know what you think, and tell me what you think I'm wrong. But I didn't really understand his beef with Snapper Carr. Snapper Carr is rude. He is insensitive. He is a jerk face. I get that. He's also right a lot. And when in that scene toward the beginning where he starts handing out assignments and he's ignoring Jimmy Olsen and he's not giving him the time of day, I think he's just doing his job. That's what I'm confused about. And at the end, Jimmy Olsen, and the episode treats it like he is vindicated and like, like we're supposed to pat him on the back because he stood up for himself and he's standing up to what's essentially supposed to be a bully. Okay, the problem is, yes, he's the boss. I get that, and he can tell Snapper Carr how he wants the newspaper run, but it feels like the episode is asking me to applaud him for micromanaging. I'm a little confused about it, and again, I don't know if I'm right about this, but Cat Grant ran a multifaceted company, so it's not just the news side. There's all these other things, and I don't think... Like she gave out assignments too. We didn't see the Snapper Carr that was running the newspaper last season, so maybe this is more last season's fault. But he's got all these his hands in all these different pies. He's got to delegate all these different parts of the company. And so at the end, when he basically shuts Snapper Carr down and is like, that was wrong. You shouldn't have done that. I'm a little confused because I think Snapper Carr is the guy who should be giving out the news assignments. I just don't quite get that. And again, yes, Snapper Carr is kind of a jerk, and Jimmy should stand up to him, and he shouldn't be able to run Jimmy, but that's not exactly what I was seeing. Anyway, I'm not sure. So yeah, I didn't like this episode as well as the first two, but I do like the status quo, and I think we're juggling a lot of stuff pretty deftly. I think it's another really dense episode, and it does remain the best of the four CW superhero shows, in my opinion. Thanks a lot for watching, sure appreciate it, and I'll see you again next time with another one and more Crisis vlogs coming your way here on Geekvolution. I've still got Arrow to do, and then Legends of Tomorrow airs tonight, so you'll see that one sometime over the weekend or on Monday. And then we've also got Gotham coming here pretty soon as well. We are a couple days late on that, but we're going to record that tonight and get it up for you tomorrow. Thanks a lot for watching. Sure appreciate it. I'm Captain Logan. See you next time.